Well, Gordon, how are you?
I'm not too bad, Gareth.
Good man. So you were chatting to Gary, I do believe, at Balmoral Show, and you said, hey boy, wouldn't mind a look at that Smyth trailer sometime, something a wee bit different. Well, this is different. What are we doing and where are we?
Well, Gareth, we're just outside Portadown here at the minute, and today is the first day of the beet harvest this year. Good day for it, ground conditions are good, so I thought we'd make a wee start here today to get some of our beet out of the ground.
Is beet a big thing?
I think it's probably becoming a bigger thing. There's not that many people growing it in Northern Ireland. I think probably in around County Armagh, County Down, there's maybe a few more people. I don't know up around North Coast, I don't think there's so many, but I think it's becoming more popular. Certainly with a lot of people wanting beet to feed beef cattle and dairy cattle and sheep as well. So I think really it's sort of catching on quite well here.
Why beet though? Is it not just full of water? Is it not just like a drink?
That depends what variety you grow. There's lots of different varieties. Some of them's high in dry matter, some of them low in dry matter. We're growing Magnum and Enermax here at the minute. Full of energy, full of sugar, full of starch. And a bit of fibre as well, so it's a good energy source for finishing cattle, sheep, and the milkman loves it as well.
Well, Gordon, are you feeding it or are you selling it, or is it maybe a bit of both?
A bit of both really. We try to grow maybe 50% for ourselves, and then the other 50% we would try and sell to sort of help to cover the cost, because it is an expensive crop to grow. It takes a lot of management. A lot of spraying, a lot of fertiliser, a lot of time and effort goes into growing it, you know.
So this is mid-October. Is this typical for starting beet harvest?
We're still probably a little bit early.
Okay.
You know,
early?
It will still grow all through the winter, but you know, we've got maybe 3,000 or 4,000 tonne to get out of the ground. You need to make a start at some point. And because if conditions get wet, then it can be a lot more difficult to get out of the ground, you know.
Getting it out of the ground is something you let a contractor do?
Absolutely, yeah. We have Ivan McGaw and William McGaw here come and do all our work for us. They're great men at their job. They have a good machine for it, and when somebody's good at their work, we just let them at it.
I can safely say my personal experience around sugar beet is practically nil. I think we were invited a few years ago, Gary and myself, to Simon Cross's. There was a bit of a sugar beet demonstration day. We had a tractor there, and that really and truly is about it. I don't even know how to pronounce the name of this harvester. Verifat or something. Yeah,
she's a Vervat 617. So now, obviously she's Ivan's machine. He would know a lot more about her than I would, but my understanding is 6 is 6 rows. She takes 6 rows at a time. 17 is 17 tonne, that's what the bunker holds. So he tells me she's in around about 500 horse or so. She's a topper on the front that flails the tops off the beet.
Yes.
That goes back into the soil and fertilises the ground. Then there you have a set of walking shares that pops the beet up out of the ground into a set of turbines that cleans the rough of the soil off it. Yeah. And then up into the hopper.
And you can see that there just from, you know, we were alongside looking at it, you can see it's sort of I don't know, they call them big discs, but as you say, they constantly clean them, but there's a series of them that takes it back.
Yeah.
And then up the conveyor and into the hopper, 17 tonne. But I suppose that's maybe needed, because here was a case of come into the field, it was no problem, the tractors come in, got loaded, were even able to go alongside, but you just felt that was taking too much muck out onto the road, so we're able to load over the hedge, which was I suppose made sense, but at least when he's going to the hedge, he's taking a load with him.
Yeah, that's it. No, well, you know, when you get into, you know, October, November, December, muck coming out onto the road's usually the biggest problem, and when you have a few fields there with good road frontage and the hedge well cut that you can get loaded out over the hedge, that makes a huge difference and keeps everyone on the road happy too. Much safer as well.
Now, back in the day, when I was working in animal nutrition side of things, you'd have been wary of maybe the odd farmer talking about feeding beet dirt and things like that. But a lot of things have changed since then. It doesn't just get through into a trailer and delivered out to a farmer.
That's right. You know, we put it all through a washer. So again, William and Ivan there have a big cross, I think this is a Rhino. So fantastic big machine, takes all the stones out of the sample, runs it through a tumbler, washes it all to a nice clean sample. So we've got no soil, we've got no stones, we've got no dirt, no nonsense like that going into the animal's feed, you know. So try to keep everybody happy that way.
Obviously you like feeding it, but how would you describe feeding it, you know, from your own, like a cost analysis? Do you think it weighs up or doesn't weigh up? And I know it's horses for courses and everybody will have different opinions, but how would you describe your cattle on it?
I think that it's definitely very cost effective, you know, with meal prices rising all the time. You know, there's never a year goes by, winter time, you know, price of maize, barley, wheat, you know, mixed rations are always on the rise, they're always expensive. I think the beet's a great alternative. It provides a lot of energy. I think it's very cost effective. What I find is it actually gives the animals quite an appetite because it's so sugary and sweet. You know, they'll probably eat more than what they normally would do. And what we try to do is we grow our own grains as well. So we grow beans and we grow wheat and barley too. And we would mix that with the chopped beet, and the little flakes of beet almost become breadcrumbed in the meal. And we tend to find that with beet they'll eat more meal and utilise it far more efficiently.
And so you run it through it, like, is it like a shredder or a chopper, or before you feed it, or just do it in the wagon?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of ways we can do it. We can drop it through a standalone chopper, or a lot of the time what we do is we just put it 2 or 3 ton into the tub feeder, switch her on for 5 minutes, and she'll chop it all up into small little chips, and then we'll just chop about 3 days worth ahead of ourselves and just feed away at it.
Well, I see drawn out the field here, you're obviously a Fendt man, and I see 2 Fendts actually was working out here today, a 720 on your own slurry cat trailer. Very cool looking trailer. It seemed a very deep monocoque. We were actually impressed when we pulled the Smyth, because we've been talking about the big Smyth all year, and it's a big deep monocoque, but the slurry cat, the two of them are pretty much on the same level when it comes to monocoque. It's a nice rig now. You must be delighted with the 720.
Yeah, we love our 720 and our slurry cat trailer. Really pleased with that. We actually slurry cat are very close to us here, and we've got a couple of their products with a tanker and shear grabs and things from them as well, and we're really happy with them. They're really well engineered, really well put together, and we actually went to Slurry Cat and said to them, you know, exactly what we wanted. We wanted that deeper body specifically for this beet job, and also for hauling our grain and band straights and meal as well, and they've done a super job. You know, she takes a good load, very steady on the road. The steering axle's great as well, you know, she'll follow you in.
See that, and I could see it was fully loaded with rollover cover and all there for doing all of the jobs you talk about. Well, what's your initial impression of the Smyth trailer? Very
impressive, Gareth, yeah. She's very steady on the road. You know, I think obviously the extra axle makes a difference, and actually probably what I was most impressed with was the steering system. You know, our yard's not the biggest, you know, it can be tight enough, and I watched them come in with the Fastrac there, and the trailer tracked very nicely in behind them, you know, and every bit as well as the Slurry Cat, which is, you know, really a smaller trailer, you know.
Understand. But I suppose that is you know, within the technology of that trailer and the system that Sam Smyth has put in there, it's positive steer, so it's being led by the tractor, and your front and rear turning together. It does. We have found that exactly what you're saying. It's proven to be a lot more manoeuvrable than it would suggest when you first look at it.
It's a bit intimidating whenever you first see it, you know, the size of it, but when you see how nimble it is on its feet, you know, in around the yard and stuff there, yeah, it's very impressive. And actually I thought it travelled the ground very well there today as well. You know, seems to spread its weight very well, and yeah, it was very impressive.
Well, it does well, I suppose. Yes, it's a bigger trailer. We're not trying to say that it's not, but equally it holds a little bit more for sure, but it's spreading all that weight over 3 axles, so it still has to, I would say, when you work it all out, there's less pressure per axle accordingly. So, but there's still the extra expense, of course, of running a tri-axle. Then you had a little Fendt, as I call it. Is it like the baby?
Yeah, well, she is the baby. Yeah, she's fantastic wee machine. We have her 3 years now. She's a 313. I'm surprised there's not more of them about. You know, we are really impressed with that machine. She does absolutely everything. You know, we've 3,500 hours on her now. Never a problem with her. She runs the diet feeder, chops straw. We can send her out to plough, power harrow. We've even had her on our big tanker and even the silage wagon as well. So she's a real all-rounder. You know, fantastic, and she's, you know, the front linkage and everything as well. She's just so versatile. We really love that machine. Yeah.
We'll have to keep Gary away from it, or he'll be shouting that he'd be looking one. But it did look class, because obviously you're up down there with the road brush and just tidying up the road after a couple of loads there, and it looked like a really lovely, nimble little tractor.
Absolutely, no, we're very pleased with it. McElderry's look after us very well too. You know, their service is second to none. You know, they're great, those guys. So
the beet is a big part of your future.
Yeah, absolutely. We probably made big changes in the farm a number of years ago. It was really my uncle started the farm here.
Yes.
And he didn't own any ground up until about the mid-80s. He wasn't from a farming background, took a bit of an interest in farming. So he married into a farming background, took a bit of an interest and bought himself a wee bit of ground. And I suppose growing up, me and him worked away with suckler cows actually. Then unfortunately he passed away very suddenly in 2005. And actually that was the year that I'd just finished school and went away off to study at university. So I was at a bit of a crossroads. Very difficult to manage suckler cows whenever you're 30 or 40 miles down the road, you know. So from then we made a bit of a change. Suckler cows went, and all Aberdeen Angus and Hereford calves come through now from the blade system and all go to ABP in Lurgan.
Yes.
So we've 350 head on the farm at the minute, and that's where the beet really ties in very nicely. So we feed beet, as I said, beans, wheat, and our own grass silage, and we try to be as sufficient or efficient as possible. Try and grow all our own feed, and try and import as little as possible, really. So this crop really does lend itself into our system very, very well.
Well, look, Gordon, thank you very much for letting us come down. I know Andrew loved to run out in the Fastrac. The Smithy we had him all wound up last night, so he did. I told him she was very awkward to get in places to see if we could put him under pressure.
Oh, well, he got on very well.
But it's actually not awkward. Yeah. And I think he has realised that now. But look, thank you very much. It's been great to see it. It's been great to see Ivan up in the harvest there, just sort of, I'll not say showing off, but just doing his thing.
And that's what he does best too.
making it look easy, and seems a great bit of kit.
Well, thanks for coming down, really appreciate it.
Thank you, pleasure.